Hello, my gorgeous people. These are all my thoughts and opinions based on all information, public information out there. Please do your own research. Share any information you may have. And due to the topic, well, they're always for entertainment purposes only, but I don't want to say that this is for entertainment as for fun or anything like that, because we're talking about the deaths of two children. So yeah, but this I have to, for legal reasons, I have to say this is for entertainment or information, entertainment purposes only. I'm going to talk about JonBenet Ramsey and Madeleine McCann. I mean, I think that by now, the entire world knows what's happened. But in both cases, authorities have failed the victims due to the fact that the parents were wealthy and well-connected. But the way I want to go about it is the motivation from each set of parents, which is completely different. But this is just my opinion. JonBenet Ramsey, what I think happens is the following. There were issues with Burke, the kid, He used to be abusive towards JonBenet. He even was caught putting poop in her bed. He was very jealous of her. What I think happened, this is just my opinion, because the parents said that he was asleep. But now with technology, with the 9/11 phone call that was enhanced the sound, you can see when Patsy thought that she hung up, she actually hadn't hung up. So the 9/11 caller was able to record the entire thing there. And since there were only, well, now that JonBenet was dead, there were only 3 people in that home around that time. So you can hear in the phone call, in a 911 phone call, very clearly that Patsy says, "Sweet Jesus, what have you done?" And then you hear Mr. Ramsey saying, "We're not talking to you." And then you can hear Burke Ramsey saying, "What did you find?" So that right there rips the myth that he was asleep. What I think happened, I think that he went downstairs to eat some pineapple because he used to like eating pineapple with milk. I think that little JonBenet came. She tried to grab a bite. She grabbed a bite from his plate because sometimes the kids do that. He got really angry, and there was this lamp or hand lamp or whatever, I don't know how you call it, and he just smacked her in the head with that. I think that when the parents found out, they probably thought that she was dead, and they proceeded to pretend that somebody was strangling her, or it might be even Burke that finished off the job. Although she did not die from asphyxiation, like many people believe, she died from the head, the blow to the head. She was literally brain dead. It was just a matter of time. There was nothing they could have done to bring her back to life. Many people wrongly claim that she was strangled. She was not. I think that they did that in order to make it look like strangulation, but she actually heard, now that the forensic experts have seen it, she actually died from the blow to the head, not asphyxiation. So I think the parents try to panic, try to cover it up to protect Burke. And they created this ridiculous scenario about having been hit, this kidnappers. I mean, we all know this story. We all know that no kidnapper entered and wrote a letter that would have taken almost 2 hours to write, because apparently there were 2 or 3 tries to do that. I only have 1 child. And I would like to think that I have taught my son right from wrong, because I'm very strict. I'm very, very, I'm going to tell you, I am very my life revolves around my son's needs. I want to make sure that he's okay. I want to make sure that he's going through, right now he's in university. I'm so proud of him, but I want to make sure that his life is okay. For example, he's going to come and spend, Christmas with me and stuff like that. And, I will do, while he's here, whatever he wants to do for vacations. Like, I always ensure everything for my son. I don't have another child. So I don't know what I would do if I had another child who had killed another one of his brother or sister. I don't know what I would do. I really don't. I would like to think that I would report my child, but I wouldn't try to make the death of my other child, if one of them had killed each other, like a footnote, because I assume that when they panicked, they thought, okay, he has killed our daughter, but if the police come, they're gonna take him to jail, and then his life will be ruined because he will be known as the child who killed his sister. So it's really difficult. Their motivations and their motives were different than the McCanns, and I'll get to that in a moment. However, I do believe that they should have just simply said that it was an accident because, kids fight. Things got out of hand. He probably hit her over the head. And I'm pretty sure that given the wealth that they had, and the influence that they had, I'm pretty sure that kid would have not been spent a day in jail or, or juvenile center or anything like that. And given his age too, So most likely what it would have happened, it would have been an accidental, manslaughter or whatever you want to call it. And I don't think he would have been held accountable. But reputation-wise, it would have affected him. And I think that had a negative impact, because this is a guy who thinks he can get away with murder. I think he is a psychopath. Dr. Phil was just like Oprah. He didn't ask the hard questions. He didn't ask the follow-up. That guy was smiling, and I would have understood if he smiled throughout the entire interview. But no, he knew when to get serious when he was angry. You can see that he knew how to regulate emotions, and he wasn't uncomfortable in most of the things. The only times he got really uncomfortable, and he would smile. And one of the questions that was really, one of his answers to the questions actually blew my mind. And when he was asked if he killed JonBenet, and then he didn't say no right off the bat. He says, "Where's the evidence?" laughing. There's no evidence. That is a big red alert. But I really think that everybody knows what's happened, especially now that the 9/11 phone call was released, because he kept going that he wasn't awake. But now that we know that he was awake, and it's most likely that's what happened. And there's actually a couple of things in YouTube that they describe that. I can kind of understand the motivations, but it was just ridiculous what happened. What I don't understand is the abuse of influence that they did, that the police, because as easy as it was Burke, it could have been them who raped and killed that child. You know what I mean? The child was not molested or anything like that, by the way. But you know what I mean? It could have been somebody else, but they used their influence to stop an investigation. And that is wrong. The police said that it was the prosecutor who stopped it. And there was a grand jury. But I disagree. I think that the police could have been more vocal. They could have exposed it more. They were just a bunch of chicken shits, in my opinion. And they let down JonBenet, because the murder can be solved, and everybody knows what happened. And this is a case that everybody knows what happened, and nobody is still willing to hold Burke Ramsey accountable, nor open the case. Because the case is cold case, so they can still go ahead and do it. But their motivations for the Ramseys were to protect their other son, their only living son. With the McCanns, we all know what's happened. We may not have the exact details. But that child, in my opinion, did not disappear. That child is dead. Madeleine is dead. And the reasons for them to create this fake scenario is not to protect the other children, it's to protect themselves. No parent would go around within a month writing a book about going to the neighbors and they're having this amazing risotto, parading around like rock stars, like not participating in their child's search, you know what I mean? Using money and funds to polish their image instead of actually looking for their kid, you know what I mean? And they act, again, as horrible as it is. I told you that I have a friend whose daughter disappeared, and I mean, she's never found her, but this is a woman. I feel like crying every time I talk about her because it's something that is completely, I can tell you that it's completely destroyed her, not knowing. And the way the McCanns act, it has nothing to do with normal parents or not, or people behave differently, but it is something that when your child is missing and you don't know where the child is, it eats you up, and they don't act like that. They act with the knowledge, oh, the kid is dead, and they have let it slip many times. But to me, what gets to me is that I am pretty sure that they're responsible for their daughter's death. This is just my opinion. And they're cold. I mean, these people are calculated. They didn't show it. If it is true that their daughter died earlier on and they were able to continue and carry on playing and doing stuff, that is terrible. They're really terrible people. But the problem here is the interference of the authorities, of the UK authorities, who have let down Madeleine McCann by not, and because I'm saying this because now Kate apparently is going back to work, after having raised millions of dollars. The money that they raised was not to look for their daughter. Instead, they paid their mortgage, they paid for their PR firms, they paid for litigation because they were suing people right, left, and center. They were traveling the world to give these interviews. They were in a rock star thing. These people are not grieving parents, and it's almost like Munchausen. That they feel they got away with it. But that's just my opinion. Their motivations are different, but in both cases, the authorities have let both victims down by not doing their jobs. And simply, I still don't know what kind of pull Jerry McCann has. I don't know. Some people have said that he belongs to this thing with Gordon Brown or whatever. I don't know. But one thing is a fact, is that the police, the Scotland Yard, are not doing their job. Because whenever that would have happened, if they had been anybody else, they would have been thoroughly investigated and most likely charged. And yet they did not follow procedure. They did not investigate anything. They have tried to look for all these crazy things. Even that poor bastard that's in Germany, If I am wrong, I will, eat my words, and of course I'll apologize, but I don't think I'm wrong. In torturing a person in Germany to get a false confession just in order to please Kate and Jerry. That kid died in their hands, whether they killed her or not. I don't think they killed her. I think it could have been something, accidental or something, but they covered the death of their daughter, not because, unlike the Ramseys, they were trying to protect their other child, but to protect themselves. And I feel that now that they've gotten away with it, they love the attention. They love going around. They love being the victims. And I think that they get off on the fact that they feel untouchable. But these are just my thoughts and opinion. Do you know what I mean? So I'm doing this video not to discuss the facts as much, because I think we all know them. But to see how the authorities have let down these people just because the parents have influence, how they're able to turn things, switch it around, which is wrong. And, I think there should be, and you know what? The press was complicit, because there was even this guy. I mean, since when do parents, the Madeleine McCann case, for example, they got the PR guy from the government that managed to get the press to apologize to the McCanns, even though the authorities, the Portuguese authorities, have every right to call them out. Because, and you know, this was not a place that was, that's the only disappearing case, actually. I found out that even Cristiano Ronaldo made a plea, you know, during that time to help find the little girl. There was nothing to find. The parents were not even interested in finding the little girl. They never joined any search parties. You know, had it been my kid, I can guarantee you that I would have been there. First, you can't sleep, but I would have been there. You know, with my friend, you know, the one that lost her daughter that is missing. This is a woman. I mean, we had to sedate her because it was so terrible. It was so terrible. You know, I still cry every time I think about it. It was so terrible because she couldn't find peace. She was out there. I mean, it was terrible. She put herself with the authorities and she said, fine, I'll ask me anything, but get me out of being a suspect. You know, you can be with me, but please also stop. You know, you can question me, do whatever you want. You know, I'll give you whatever you want, but also be out there looking for other possibilities. The McCanns haven't done that. And unfortunately, 2 children are dead. And we have this crazy Burke Ramsey who feels he got away with it. I wish the police would open the cases and for real investigate it and bring people to charge. But what do you guys think about, you know, it's just a sad thing. It's amazing how corruption from authorities, but the motivations are different. I can understand the Ramses a little bit, but I can't understand the McCanns. What do you guys think?